Happy Wednesday. We are getting set up for day 3 of school, technically week 2 of school, but we just had a big, long, nice 5-day weekend. So what that means is it is a new month now. So I switched up the seats. I only had 2 days to kind of observe students, see where I want them to go, but I like to switch up my seats every single month. So every month students will have new groupings to get used to, which is great. I went ahead and made copies for the week, and right now I'm just going to get a few last minute things done. We are starting EL education. We're starting our first unit today. We have a first grade mission. So I'm going to pop in, I think, after school and kind of let you know what we did on day 3 of school and kind of give you a rundown of EL and everything else we've been doing. So I will check in a bit. Hello, checking in from after school. I'm obviously not in my classroom. I got too busy chatting and I am on my way to a Pilates workout, but I wanted to pop in and just kind of let you know how the day went. Yesterday, I can show you some examples of some of the stuff we did. But day 3 is done. We had another great day, still slowly working through those procedures. This morning I introduced our classroom jobs. I introduced our rug spots. We practiced walking in line. What else did we practice? Oh, we read The Magical Yet and we watched a Power of Yet video from Sesame Street. And then we talked about something we don't know how to do just yet, kind of getting that growth mindset going. And then we also introduced WIN. So our WIN stations, we usually have 4 different groups. I have a whole WIN video. It looks like this right here if you want to see how it runs. But when we introduce WIN, and I'll show you this tomorrow with the slides, when I introduce it, I basically explained we have independent activities, we have collaborative activities, and then we have teacher table. So today, everybody got to kind of practice going to a group. And then they also got their iPads for the first time, and I helped each kid set up Epic. So the group that came to teacher table, I helped them set up Epic, and then I called students like one by one. But we just had, for independent practice, just some counting pages that they had to do because we talked about numbers 1 through 10. And then what else did we do? I also had, the collaborative game I had students play was called Roll and Build, which is a favorite of mine. It looks like this right here. So we talked about what those games should sound like, what it looks like when we're doing independent work, what it looks like when we're doing collaborative work, and all that fun stuff. And then we did start our EL education. So we are doing EL Module 1. That's what we're doing for the pilot. It's 8 weeks long and it's all about tools. So today was like lesson number 1. Students got to match up and find a partner that had a matching tool. We talked about what we know about tools already. We kind of already did a little writing in it. I would say the writing was a struggle in terms of what students could actually write. So they just did a drawing. I did like a sentence they could copy off the board if they needed to. And then they shared what they learned about tools. And then tomorrow we will go into our, We'll go into our first like real mission, they call them. So we'll have a mission. We'll actually get to feel and touch some tools and see how it goes. But yeah, I'm going to hop into my Pilates class now and I will check in with you tomorrow morning. Happy Thursday. I am here not as early as I would like to be because this morning I actually have TAT team. So TAT is a new committee that I'm on this year for school, and it stands for Teachers Assisting Teachers, and it is basically a group of teachers that kind of work together to, if another teacher in the building has a student that they're concerned about, whether it's academically, social, emotionally, for any kind of which reason, they can bring it to the TAT team and we kind of discuss the student, what they're working on, and come up with ideas and strategies to help that child. So it's a great way to kind of like check in on the process. This would be after the classroom teacher has already tried different strategies and documented different things, and then they feel like that's not working. They might bring the child to the TAT team. We can try to help, and then if that's still not working, if progress isn't being shown, then further things might happen after that. But so that is a new committee I am on this morning. We start that at 8 and that's on every Thursday morning. So it's about 7:30 now. And there were a few things I wanted to do, especially to get ready for my EL unit. So I did bring in some tools. Let me get those out and show you. Okay, so speaking of EL education, we are using it through the publisher Imagine Learning. So we got all the student workbooks yesterday, and we got all the mentor texts and everything we're going to need for this unit. And then today, to kick off our tools unit with our first mission, students are going to see a measuring cup, a ladle, some tongs, and a funnel. And I'm going to kind of pass them around the circle. Students will say what they notice and what they wonder about each tool. And then their mission is to see which of these tools can help them flip over some cookies. So they have to kind of guess which ones they think might work, how it might work, and then we'll actually practice doing it with the goal is that the tongs are going to be the ones to do it because they can have the most control. And then after we do that little mission, we are going to write about one of the tools. And then I believe I need to figure out the book. I think it's this one. And then we read our first text to go along with it. So a chef's tools. I went and grabbed the envelope that we used yesterday. I explained yesterday we had our first grade mission and it had a little letter inside. We actually just did it on the board. But then, let's see if I can grab these. Students had to find a partner and they had to kind of put their puzzle piece together, and then everybody talked about what their puzzle piece does, what they know about their puzzle piece. We see if we have any questions about these puzzle pieces, about these tools, and then we did our first writing assignment about it. I know I shared this yesterday. I just wanted to show kind of what it looked like. So what I'm noticing is each day we obviously do some sort of activity. We're going to dive into some reading about that activity. We're building that knowledge. So from my understanding, the way EL works is that within each module, there's 3 units, and we are starting the first unit now, and they're all varying lengths. But the first unit is all about kind of activating and building that background knowledge. So that's what we're into now. And then the second unit, I forget what they say, but basically we're going deeper into it. I think we explore some more text with that overarching topic, which this one is going to be tools. And then the third one, we're really kind of applying that knowledge, and whether it's creating a project or doing a writing scenario, whatever it is, we kind of apply it in that third unit. So this entire thing is going to take us about 8 weeks. And right now we're just building that background knowledge. Switching gears a little bit to today's slides. This morning we are going to do the name jar activity. I did this last year. I'll put a picture right here of what they end up looking like. So we're just going to talk about our names, and this is during phonics time. So we're going to talk about how many letters are in our name, how many syllables, how many consonants, and all that fun stuff. And then this is our EL lessons that we are going to do. After calendar, yesterday we actually reviewed some letter or number formation. So what we did yesterday, let me just show you real quick. What we did for math yesterday is we basically went over these little number posters here, and then students just made each number using Play-Doh. So we had them skywrite the number, and then they made each number using Play-Doh. And then at the end, we grabbed our whiteboards and a 10-sided dice. So students just got with a partner, and they would just take turns rolling the dice. And then whatever number they landed on, both students had to write it, they had to check it, and then they could erase and pass the die again. So they just, some very simple, quick practice for about 5-6 minutes at the end of math. Today, we're going to continue with those numbers 1 to 10, just kind of reviewing what they are, but students are going to get their Rec and Recs. So let me show you. And I just made these little simple slides here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain what the Rec and Rec looks like and what it is, how it shows numbers. This one shows the number 3. Students are going to get their individual Rec and Recs, and they are going to have to make that number. And then on the count of 3, we're going to say what the number is, and we'll see if it's correct. Then we'll get another one. 6, 8, 1, 5, and 7, and 10. So we're going to go up to 10. So with this, I'm going to actually turn this into a math talk on its own since I just added these to the slides. I have a ton of math talks, but I didn't have any for Rec and Rec, so I wanted to make this little unit. So I will go ahead and, I don't know if it'll be up yet, but if not, it'll be on TPT very soon and in the math club. So this is going to be our little warm-up. And then we are going to just talk about counting. So these are my math teaching slides. I have a ton of them for most skills that you're going to teach in first grade. And we're just going to practice some counting. So they're going to get, we're going to talk about how it's easier to count things. We can count things 1 by 1. We can put them in groups of 2, groups of 5s. We could put them in a 10 frame. Just talk about the different ways we can count. And then They're gonna watch me do some counting, and then with a partner, they're gonna get just a few different bags of cubes or bears or different objects, and they're just gonna practice counting them. So pretty simple. And then we have a closing, of course. Do you think it's easier to count items in groups? Explain, and then with some independent practice. So that's gonna be our math. All right, I have a few things I'm gonna prep this morning. First, I need to cut out those construction paper squares for the name jar, which we're doing this morning. And then I need to finish, I put our thoughts, or what is it, our first grade hopes. We did that last week. I put that out on the bulletin board, and I just have one paper I need to add to it. And I think that might be all I need to do this morning, but I'm gonna get that done, and I will check in with you a little bit later. It is the afternoon of day 4. So day 4 is done. Day 5 is tomorrow. This is when I will stop counting the days. I will not call it day 4, day 5 anymore. It's funny because when I make my slides for the first few days of school, I literally title them first day, second day, third day. Last year we had 6 days of school to start off, like those first 2 weeks. This time we have 5 because of that extra long weekend. But then next week we'll kind of just go right into September. And next week is really when we are diving into our actual plans and things that we're doing for the year. So in math next week, we're gonna start our unit on numbers 1 through 10, and just like review from last year, we will start our foundations units going through the letter review for a few weeks. So we're gonna do all that fun stuff and kind of still stick with the routines and like, this is what we do during foundations. This is what we do during Haggerty. This is what it sounds like. This is what it looks like. We've kind of already talked a little bit about that for each block, but we've been doing like practice Haggerty. So we're gonna really do Haggerty tomorrow, and I need to make a little hedgehog chart to make sure I am fairly passing out that hedgehog to those who are working hard for it. I wanted to talk real quick about the EL lesson. So today was our first mission where we had to go ahead and flip some Oreos we had to see if we could flip the Oreo with the tools. I think I showed you the tools this morning. So it was nice. We all sat in a circle. I put the tools out. We said, what do I notice about these tools? What do I wonder? How are they used? And then we talked about which one would be best for flipping an Oreo or flipping a cookie. And most of the students right away were like, oh, the tongs. Some said the ladle might work because you could scoop it. But they even said when they were talking about it, that when they flipped it, they feel like it would be harder than the tongs. So we tried the ladle first. I kind of held up the funnel and the measuring cup, and we're like, would this work? And they're like, no. And then we used the tongs. It worked nice and easy. And then everybody got their own cookie to flip with their own little tweezers. So I explained how they're a little bit different than tongs, but they do something similar, and they were all able to flip it. So very engaging. What me and my teammate are noticing, who's also doing the pilot with me, is, I mean, it's only day 2, so I don't know, but it definitely requires a lot of prep. So like, for example, I definitely need all of the tools here. Like, I wouldn't do this lesson with like paper tools that are cut out. I mean, you could talk about it, but actually doing the experience is very engaging and fun for them. And we have another mission tomorrow, and we were looking ahead to next week where they have some different missions where they have to actually physically use these tools, which is great. But you do have to make sure you're like prepped ahead of time, because you can't do it without a measuring cup, a ladle, a funnel, and whatever the other one was, the tongs. So you need to actually have them physically. So we were just thinking, if we were going to adopt this going forward, it would be nice to like have a bucket of these tools that we know that they need. And then we were looking at next week's lesson, and they need like eyedroppers, tweezers, but then students have to kind of go do it themselves. So you can't even just have one. You need like, not even a class set, but at least for people, your partners to share, you need those items. But once you have them, it has been very engaging for students. The tricky part has been the writing of it all. They do have to go write. And in the lesson itself, it does not necessarily dive into like how to write a sentence and what a sentence should have, what it should look like. It looks like we're gonna do a little bit of that in the next couple of days, so I'll keep you updated. But normally the very first writing assignment I would have them do, or writing lesson, is like, this is how we draw illustrations. This is how we use shapes to make illustrations as people and as animals and as backgrounds. And then we go into writing a sentence, the parts of a sentence, what it should look like, sound like, and so on. That's normally how I start. So this is, like I said, it's a little interesting. So we'll see where that ends up. But so far, I've noticed a lot of teacher prep, but students are very engaged. But again, it's day 2. So I will definitely keep you updated with that as we continue. I think when we're done with this whole pilot, I'll do like a little video that's like pros and cons or things I liked and didn't like. And I can even let you know like what my district is thinking, because we still plan to meet each week, or at least every other week. I'm not exactly sure, I have to look. But we're still meeting on Tuesdays to talk about how it's going and what we like and don't like, and see where we land with all of that. I had prepped all of the bags that we were going to do for our counting today during math, but I forgot one of my students, it was their birthday. So during math time, I kind of introduced what we normally do for birthdays. They get a little birthday gift, and then we all write them a book. It was really cute. And the first couple times we do this, again, because writing is not our strong suit yet in first grade, it takes a long time for them to share their idea. So that took a little bit for me to kind of maneuver. So I had them do that. And then for ones that finished first, I introduced the app Moose Math on their iPad. So they're kind of slowly learning new apps that they can use. So math is ready and prepped for tomorrow. So I already prepped all of these little counting bags filled with, you can't even see inside, but they're filled with little, not bears, they're like counting vehicles. Let me see. Boop. So tomorrow we will do this whole lesson. So I just plopped that lesson onto tomorrow's slides for math. And then I was just looking, and tomorrow for, it'll be our first Friday. So we'll have our free draw Friday at the end. And then I just want to show you what we're going to do in the morning during phonics time. Oh, we did finish our name jar activities. Those are cute. I'm going to hang those up. But for phonics tomorrow, since we haven't started foundations yet, I'm going to read The Bad Seed. Right back there. And then after I read that book, we'll kind of talk about, can we change? Or are we always bad just because we make one bad decision, how we can turn it around, right? I think I explained this, but, coming off the summer, it's really hard. You have a lot of students like, I don't want to do that. And even just the academic load from kindergarten to first grade is a bigger jump. So it's a lot of like, the first couple of weeks are like building up our stamina, and maybe we're not making such great choices with the words we're using or how we choose to use our time. So we're going to talk about how we can turn that around, how we can change that. Just because we make one bad decision does not mean we are bad seeds by any means. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our logical consequences. So let me show you that slide. So tomorrow after Haggerty, we go to phonics. We're going to review our numbers where we sit on the rug, and then we will read The Bad Seed. Last year we had like a little seed coloring page, and they colored they colored in like half and half. They colored in the seed 2 colors, and they wrote things I am good at and things I'm still working on, or something like that. But this year, instead, we're going to talk about our logical consequences. So these 3 are, the most basic ones. It's if I break it, and this includes feelings, and we'll give lots of examples. I fix it. So if I break something in the classroom, if I hurt somebody's feelings, I can go ahead and fix it with my words and actions. If I misuse it, I lose it. So this goes for, rug spots. This goes for tools in the classroom. Anything we are misusing, we lose it. And we'll also talk about how this is temporary. So like I had, for example, a student today was playing Play-Doh when they weren't supposed to, and I already gave them 2 verbal reminders. I said, if I see that again, I'm going to take it. So I took it, and then they earned it back later. So it's not like you lose it forever. We can always, again, bad seed, right? We can always work on this. We can make a better choice next time. And then the other one is if I don't finish my work, I must complete it during another time. And so we don't take away recess or anything like that to do finished work, but win time is usually a time where there's extra choice time for them to use their iPads, and that would be a time where they will have to complete it during another time. And I also talk about how this doesn't go for students that are, working really hard on something and they just can't complete it yet. It's more like I'm choosing not to do it during this time. So yeah, we'll have a big long talk about logical consequences, the bad seed. I do have students, I had them on their first day draw a picture of themselves and write their name, which I was just realizing I need to add to my students' data binder, which I have not even cleared out since last year. Let me show you this big bad boy. Oh my God, I can barely lift it. This is my data binder. So this has all their foundations assessments, it has their math assessments, and then it has any sort of like beginning of the year to end of the year things that I pull out for conferences. So it has a lot. It does not have even close to everything. But again, most of that basic stuff. At the beginning of the year, we did a little letter formation. Actually, I think we just did this yesterday. Oh my gosh, it already feels like forever ago. But it looked like this. So they had to see how many of the letters they could form. They even have the little key symbol up here from Foundations, and they had to just form the letter on their own to the best of their ability. So that will go in there. Like I said, the first picture that they drew along with how they wrote their name will go in there. But I have to clear out that one. So I'm going to leave it on my back table so I remember. And then, yeah, tomorrow's Friday. I think I'm going to end the video here. I gave you another little rundown next week. If there's something more specific you want me to go in, or if you like these little kind of pop-ins to just see what we're up to, let me know. If you want to know more about what goes in my data binder, I can show you. I don't really have any resource for it. I pretty much told you everything that goes in there already, but any questions, anything, let me know down in the comments and I can answer them for you. And as always, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up so I know. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and click that bell. That way you're notified of every video. See you in the next one. Bye.